Joink, beep, beep, and welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of the Groundhog Day episode. And once again, happy Groundhog Day to everyone out there. Talked a little bit about kind of the setup of Groundhog Day, the 1993 Bill Murray comedy classic in part 1. We're going to get a little deeper into it. I forgot to mention the little thing about the feud between Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. Harold Ramis, who played Egon Spengler in the Ghostbusters movies, very tight friend with Bill Murray. And so this is the movie that broke their friendship, unfortunately. Harold Ramis was very involved with the script. He had a big hand in it, and Bill Murray wasn't too comfortable with some of the things that were happening in the script, and wanted things to be changed a lot. And we know how Bill Murray is. He just kind of riffs and just kind of does his own thing anyway. And I guess those two were just kind of having creative differences. Bill Murray wanted to get more into the philosophical stuff, and Harold Ramis wanted to get a little bit more into the comedy of it, because it is a comedy after all. There's some pretty heavy stuff that this movie presents as well, and I think that was probably the stuff that Bill Murray was leaning more into. So, they had creative differences, and there was just a feud and just an overall tension that kind of began on set with them, which is unfortunate, because it's sad to see two friends, squabble over something like that. So, they got through the movie, they got through the whole process, and then, the movie came out. It was amazing, but the damage had been done between those two. And Bill Murray refused to work again with Harold Ramis, ever. And they didn't. For like over 20 years, they didn't speak, really, which is kind of strange, because they were such good friends, and they're the Ghostbusters, and they worked together but separately on Ghostbusters the video game. I think that might have been the only thing that they had their names on after this whole thing took place, and that came out in 2009, and it served as Ghostbusters 3, really, and Harold Ramis had a hand in helping kind of guide the story with that as well. It's just sad to see that the Ghostbusters weren't getting along. So they didn't then speak again until about 2014. And unfortunately, it's because Harold Ramis was having health complications, and he was slowly dying, and he was literally on his deathbed in 2014. And that's when Bill Murray had heard of what was happening and decided that this was the time to go and mend fences with him. So he found Harold Ramis, and they were able to, become friends again and make up. And it was a short time later that then Harold Ramis passed. It was kind of a bittersweet way to end that work relationship between them. That is the story of the creative differences in Groundhog Day between those two. The film has endured, though. Like, it is forever a cult classic, and I'll just kind of recap the franchise a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit of a franchise. There's not a part 2, although you'll see a lot of like fake part 2 movie trailers and stuff out there on YouTube, as per anything. But there is a musical that came out, Groundhog Day the musical. There's a video game sequel that came out. I've never played it, so I can't tell you too much about it. But the thing that is the most notable is the Jeep commercials. And if you want a sequel, that's kind of the closest we'll ever get to like a Groundhog Day sequel. Those were Super Bowl commercials in 2020, where Bill Murray reprises his role, and it starts exactly as the film does. He wakes up in his bed at 6 a.m. He's like, "Oh no, not again," he says, and he just starts going through that loop again. And they must have had a lot of creative freedom with these commercials, because so much happens and so much is presented. They must have been shooting for weeks, these commercials. And I'm sure Bill Murray had a lot of fun, creative input with them as well. There's some stuff where he's got the groundhog, he kidnaps the groundhog again, his brother's in it again, Brian Doyle Murray. The guy who plays Ned Ryerson is back, and he's exactly as sharp as a whip as he was in the film. And it's good to see all those guys back, and they recreate some of the scenes from the movie. And anyway, a little sidebar. The part of the movie where Bill Murray kidnaps the groundhog, as he does in the commercials, the groundhog was getting agitated, obviously, and Bill Murray had the groundhog up on the driver's wheel, and the groundhog was moving around and trying to escape and trying to climb over the wheel to escape. And he was getting agitated, and Bill Murray said, "Don't drive angry, don't drive angry," which was an ad lib at the point, and that's what they use in the film. And that phrase was used for the Nicolas Cage movie, Drive Angry. Fun little thing. But then, back to the movie, the groundhog got so agitated he bit Bill Murray, and he needed medical attention. So, don't mess with those groundhogs. Yeah. Be nice to your resident groundhog. Speaking of which, done talking about the movie, let's talk about Groundhog Day around here. Speaking of not being nice to the groundhog locally, I want to talk about our good pal, Mr. Tony Nargi, who used to work here. Hopefully, you guys remember Tony Nargi. He was the morning meteorologist. He was a kindred spirit, he and I. The guy had a flair and a passion for pranks and bits and just being hilarious, and we would share bits and we would talk about bits, and you know, I'd talk about something and he'd go and do it on the TV, and it was great. I love that Tony Nargi. I really miss that guy. He's having a ball today, being that it's Groundhog Day, because what he's known for around here is how he was calling out the groundhog last year for Groundhog Day, calling him a fraud. He popped up the groundhog on his graphics and put fraud across Phil's face. He's like, the groundhog's a fraud. He's only like 37% or 35% accurate with his predictions. Don't ever listen to this little furry fraud. And he was just going off, like bullying the groundhog. And that's kind of what people knew him for locally here. And that's what we would talk about all the time. We would call him a fraud. And kind of to this day, that's what Tony Nargi is known for around here. And, you know, I miss fun little bits like that all the time. It was a good time. So I'll be reaching out to you today, Tony Nargi. Happy Frauds Day, you fraud. Miss you, buddy. So that takes care of that whole thing. We talked about the franchise, the Groundhog Day franchise. Let's talk a little bit more about the impact of Groundhog Day before I get into my weekend recap here. So Groundhog Day was not the first time loop like plot line that you see in film and TV, but it's the first time it was done really well and in a big way that people started to notice. It's been done before in other things. It was done in Star Trek. It was done actually in the Goosebumps book, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom, which they did a television episode on just a couple years after that. 95 it aired, November 95, and it's not quite a time loop where he's reliving it every day. He's going backwards in time, but there is a day where he's reliving the first day again, and it definitely gives you Groundhog Day vibes. So that was a really good episode. Yeah, Star Trek did it. Supernatural did it in one of their seasons. It's exactly, and they reference Groundhog Day a lot. They're trapped in this loop that the prankster puts them in. You know, the god of mischief, whatever the character's name was, specifically kept them in this time loop, and they were going through all the motions that Bill Murray was. It was kind of cool to see that episode. Couple of notable movies that kind of borrow from this idea is the first time I ever saw it done outside of Groundhog Day was Live, Die, Repeat, aka Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise action movie. And that was fun to see. It's always fun to see those time loop movies. I enjoyed that one, and I'd like a sequel to that one as well. I think the the action was great, and just watching him relive it was great. This idea for a time loop is better used in a comedic way, I'd say, because redundancy is redundant, and redundancy is comedic in its own way. So, in another memorable movie that borrows this is Happy Death Day. Love Happy Death Day. It went the slasher route, but it mixed a lot of comedy in with it. Where this girl, Jennifer Roth, or Jessica Roth, I believe, is the actress's name, wakes up, it's her birthday, but it's also her death day, where she's going to be killed at the end of this day. And after she is killed by this particular slasher who's targeting her, she wakes up just like Bill Murray does, and it's that same day over and over again, and they lean into the humor with that. Really loved that movie, really loved part 2, and I hope part 3 is finally able to take place as they had planned to do. So, there's a couple of other influences that use this fun little time loop idea. And on that note, talking of movies and such, I want to recap my weekend a little bit. Speaking of happy birthdays, it was my birthday weekend, yay! So I want to show you a couple of the things that I actually did this weekend. Let's start with this, joink. Okay, mic is up, beep, beep, beep. All right, there we go. So I went and I got those new Happy Meals this weekend. They have the changeable Happy Meals are back. It's the first time they've had changeable Happy Meals since like the 90s officially. They had them in like 2019 for their anniversary. They released 1 or 2 of them for like the anniversary. And that was pretty cool to see, but this is a full-on, it's like 16 different McDino changeables and Transformer McChangeables that they have, and I love that McDonald's is continuing their throwback ideas. And I had these on the show last week. They were our talker, and I just happened to have gone there, and I had the boxes, I had the toys, we pulled them out on the desk. It was great. It was great. It was a shame I couldn't be there to play with them as well, but there they are. So we'll move on to the next one here. Hey, it's my birthday, there's my brother. We were out having our birthday meal. This was actually the day before our birthday. We usually go out to some Mexican place, and then we went to go see Silent Hill together. He's a big Silent Hill fan, and we were both very perplexed by Return to Silent Hill. We didn't really like it that much, and the audience scores reflect that as well. It's not in the top 5. It's not going to make much money. Like, it's across the board, the Rotten Tomatoes score is not good for it, and it's a perplexing movie to watch. It's something else. I'll get deeper into the review with it here maybe in the future. It's just all the choices were deliberate, and they were perplexing ones. It's like you're watching a really bad video game cutscene for an hour and a half with bad CGI and everything intact. So there's that quick little recap on Return to Silent Hill. And then, hey, here we go, The Room. On the actual day of my birthday, they had a showing of The Room at the cinema, which is the worst film of all time. I like to think the best film of all time because of how fun it is and how entertaining it is regardless. There I am dressed like Tommy Wiseau. You might remember from last week I covered The Room in preparation for this. There's a few of my pals that came out, and the whole audience sang happy birthday to me. It was pretty cool. Oh, hi. And so, yeah, that was a fun time. And we're just going to move along to the last thing here. Hey, there's Mr. Tony Nargi. Fraud. Is Phil a fraud? Fraud. There he is. That's what he's known for around here. And we love you, Tony. We'll go back to Cam here. Joink. And on that note, my friends, that concludes our Groundhog Day episode for now. So, let me tease ahead to next week a little bit. Next week, we're going to have some dinosaurs. It's going to be dinosaur related. There's a movie that's coming back to the big screen with dinosaurs. It's a big deal. Pretty excited about it. I've got a lot of the toys figured out for it. Got a really crazy costume figured out for it, but I don't know how well that's going to play yet. But either way, I'm going to try to sneak it in. We'll see what happens. But there's a little tease to next week. So thank you for tuning in, my friends. And until next time, stay spooky, my friends.